In a world awash with expectations and judgments, have you ever wondered what lies beyond the relentless pursuit of approval? This book invites you on a transformative journey to uncover the profound strength that resides within you. As the subtle whispers of self-doubt and the clamor of others' opinions drown out your true essence, you will learn to navigate this labyrinth of external validation. Through compelling lessons and practical exercises, you will break free from the chains of approval seeking and emerge with renewed self-belief and resilience. Mind Over Approval: Cultivate Resilience and Self-Belief, written and published by Silent Validity. Lesson 1. Breaking Free from Approval Seeking. Have you ever felt an unsettling emptiness when you don't receive praise or acknowledgement from others? This phenomenon, rooted deeply in the human psyche, reveals a startling truth. The desire for validation can imprison us within the confines of others' opinions. Seeking validation often stems from our fundamental need for love and acceptance, a desire ingrained in us from a young age. When we grow up in environments where approval is conditional, where praise was doled out for accomplishments rather than inherent worth, we internalize the belief that our value is contingent upon the approval of those around us. This conditioning can create a lifelong habit of seeking outside affirmation, making it difficult to cultivate self-worth from within. The repercussions of this constant quest for validation manifest in various aspects of life. Imagine the individual who meticulously curates their social media presence, posting only the most polished moments in a relentless quest for likes and compliments. Each notification of approval fuels their sense of self, yet each moment of silence plunges them into despair. This cyclical dependence exposes a powerful truth. When we seek validation externally, we relinquish control over our self-esteem, allowing the opinions of others to dictate our emotional well-being. In such scenarios, our sense of identity becomes entangled with fleeting moments of recognition, sabotaging our ability to find true fulfillment. Take, for instance, the workplace environment. Consider a professional who constantly asks for feedback on their presentations, not for personal growth, but out of an insatiable need for affirmation. Colleagues may view them as diligent and hardworking, yet behind the scenes, that individual grapples with crippling self-doubt. Each compliment momentarily lifts their spirit, but without it, they risk spiraling into feelings of inadequacy. This pattern breeds a cycle of over-preparing and obsessively seeking approval, which ultimately detracts from genuine creativity and authenticity. The irony is that the very act of chasing approval can stymie the uniqueness that brings true value to our contributions. In romantic relationships, the desire for validation can also manifest in insidious ways. A partner whose self-worth is intertwined with their lover's praise may find themselves altering behaviors, interests, and even core values to garner affection. This dance of unmet expectations often results in a profound sense of disconnection, as individuals lose sight of who they are in the pursuit of being enough for someone else. The emotional toll is significant. Living within the constraints of someone else's approval inevitably leads to resentment, confusion, and eventually, heartbreak. In another instance, we see individuals navigating social dynamics, where the need for validation from peers can compel them to conform to group norms, often at the expense of their authentic selves. This can lead to a life filled with superficial relationships, where the bonds lack depth and authenticity. When we measure our worth by the approval of a select few, we blind ourselves to the diverse relationships that can nourish our spirit and affirm our individuality. By understanding the psychological and emotional underpinnings of our validation-seeking behaviors, we can begin to chart a path towards self-empowerment. It is imperative to realize that approval is fleeting and often subjective, and learning to cultivate an internal compass can pave the way to a more authentic, fulfilling life. Breaking free from the shackles of approval-seeking is not merely an aspiration. It is a vital step toward reclaiming our true selves and nurturing the resilient spirit that lies within. To reclaim your autonomy from the habit of seeking approval, the first step is to cultivate self-awareness, a pivotal strategy for recognizing the patterns that underpin this behavior. Begin by observing your emotional responses in social situations. When you find yourself craving validation, Pause and reflect on the underlying reasons. Are you anxious about an upcoming presentation? Do you feel unworthy without external affirmation? Recording these reflections in a journal can help highlight triggers and patterns in your quest for approval. Recognizing where you seek approval allows you to confront these feelings head-on and devise strategies to counteract them. Once you're familiar with your triggers, the next step is developing mindset shifts that facilitate emotional independence. Reframe your thoughts by challenging the belief that your worth is conditional on others' opinions. Incorporate affirmations into your daily routine, stating phrases like, "I am enough, just as I am," or "My value is inherent and not defined by others." Psychological research suggests that such affirmations can not only reduce anxiety, but also bolster resilience, making it easier to navigate life's uncertainties without relying on outside validation. This transformation in mindset creates a powerful buffer against the sting of criticism and judgment, enabling you to embrace your true self without fear. In tandem with mindset shifts, actionable exercises can drive real change in your approach to validation-seeking behavior. Start by setting small, achievable challenges that force you out of your comfort zone. For example, engage in a social setting where you consciously refrain from asking for approval. Share an idea at a meeting or express a unique opinion without seeking validation. Pay close attention to how it feels to share your thoughts without seeking external reassurance. The discomfort might initially feel daunting, but this exercise can significantly boost your self-trust as you realize that your opinions are valid, even when they are unacknowledged by others. Consider the case study of Jane, a marketing executive who struggled with unrelenting anxiety surrounding her performance review. Jane's fear of judgment led her to seek constant validation from her colleagues, manifesting in excessive checking in on projects and over-preparation. Through journaling and the introduction of daily affirmations, she began to confront her fear of inadequacy. Each time she refrained from seeking validation, she not only grew more comfortable with her contributions, but also developed a newfound confidence that transformed her professional interactions. Jane's journey illustrates the profound impact that self-awareness and actionable mindset shifts can have in breaking the cycle of approval seeking. As you continue this journey, remember to reinforce progress through self-celebration. Acknowledge and honor your efforts, however small, in breaking free from the grip of external validation. The more you affirm your intrinsic worth, the more empowered you become to forge your path, unencumbered by others' judgments. In the next lesson, we will delve deeper into the art of rewriting the story of self-worth. Together, we'll explore how the narratives we tell ourselves can be restructured to reshape our identities and cultivate unwavering self-belief. As you reflect on your efforts to break free from seeking approval, ask yourself, what is the new story you want to tell? Keep this thought in mind as you continue your journey, and remember, the path to self-validation is a gradual yet profound transformation that leads to a more authentic life. Lesson 2. Rewriting the story of self-worth. What if the narrative you have been living is not even your own? The journey to self-worth often requires us to confront the stories we tell ourselves about our value, much of which is shaped by societal expectations and the opinions of others. These narratives become deeply entrenched, influencing our sense of identity and dictating how we perceive ourselves in relation to the world. The psychological essence of this phenomenon reveals that the drive for external validation can often distort our self-concept, leading us to believe that our worth hinges on the approval of others. At the heart of this validation-seeking behavior is a profound desire for acceptance and belonging. From an early age, many of us internalize messages that suggest our value is conditional, rooted in our accomplishments, appearances, or the accolades we receive. This coding shapes our self-esteem and breeds an unhealthy reliance on external factors to define who we are. Psychological studies reveal that individuals who attribute their self-worth to external validation are more prone to anxiety and depression because their sense of self becomes fragile and easily influenced. They stand on a precarious foundation, swayed by the winds of others' opinions rather than anchored by a solid understanding of their intrinsic value. Consider the case of Mark, a high-achieving college student who constantly seeks validation from his professors and peers. Though he excels academically, Mark finds himself feeling inadequate, always comparing his achievements to those of others. Each time he receives a compliment, he feels a fleeting lift. But this is quickly followed by a sense of dread in preparing for the next evaluation. This cycle demonstrates a common trap. When self-worth is tethered to external praise, each success becomes a momentary high, accompanied by an unresolved hunger for more validation. Mark's story is a microcosm of what many experience, an unending chase that detracts from finding genuine contentment and fulfillment. Similarly, let us look at Elaine, an aspiring artist whose identity is heavily tied to the approval of her social media following. In her quest for validation, she spends countless hours perfecting her posts, focusing on gaining likes and comments, rather than creating art that resonates with her true self. The validation she seeks becomes a fleeting high, leading her to feel increasingly lost and disillusioned with her craft. In both cases, the pursuit of external validation obscures their authentic selves, locking them into a narrative where worth is a continual evaluation by others, rather than a recognition of inner qualities. To further understand this dynamic, consider the emotional toll it takes when our self-narratives are driven by external expectations. When we derive our sense of worth from how others perceive us, we handicap our ability to forge a meaningful relationship with ourselves. In doing so, we often become uncomfortably aware of our perceived flaws, leading to a distorted self-image. This narrative reaffirms the belief that we must achieve perfection to be loved and valued, creating an inner dialogue rife with criticism and self-doubt. In untangling these deeply embedded stories, it becomes essential to recognize that our self-worth is independent of external validation. By leaning into this truth, we can begin to challenge the narratives that no longer serve us and rewrite our own stories centered on authenticity and self-acceptance. This transformative process holds the power to redefine how we view ourselves and interact with the world, allowing us to embrace our imperfections and inherent worth unapologetically. Understanding this crucial shift is the first step toward liberation and self-discovery. To begin rewriting your story of self-worth, the first strategy is to develop a heightened sense of self-awareness. This awareness enables you to catch yourself in moments when you are unwittingly seeking approval from others. Start by examining your emotional responses when you post on social media, share ideas in group settings, or reveal personal opinions. Ask yourself questions like, am I sharing this to express myself, or am I hoping for validation? Keeping a journal during this reflective process can help illuminate patterns and provide insights into how often you seek external validation. By documenting these experiences, you will be able to identify triggers and recognize behaviors that perpetuate a reliance on others' approval. Understanding how to shift your mindset is crucial in breaking the cycle of self-doubt. One effective perspective change is to regard approval as an outcome of your choices rather than a prerequisite for your worth. Embrace the understanding that everyone has opinions, but they are subjective and often influenced by the individual's biases and experiences. Remind yourself that you have the power to validate your own thoughts and feelings. Psychological research underscores this mindset shift. Studies reveal that individuals who focus on intrinsic motives, such as personal satisfaction and growth, report higher levels of well-being compared to those reliant on external approval. Practicing radical self-acceptance is also a pivotal exercise in this journey. Start by listing qualities or aspects of yourself that you appreciate. Reflect on what you value beyond societal standards, your resilience, creativity, or sense of humor. Make it a habit to revisit this list regularly and add to it as you discover more about yourself. This practice not only nurtures self-love, but forms a solid base from where you can redefine your self-worth, independent of external influences. Consider the case of Sam, who found himself constantly adjusting his opinions in discussions to align with what would please his friends. Through self-exploration and journaling, Sam learned to recognize when he was suppressing his views for approval. He began practicing expressing his authentic opinions in small group settings, regardless of whether they were well received. With each courageous expression of his true self, Sam found his confidence growing, which in turn made him more resilient to differing viewpoints. His ability to embrace his individuality diminished his need for external validation, enabling him to engage with others from a place of authenticity. In implementing these strategies, you are setting the stage for a monumental shift in how you view and value yourself. The process may feel daunting at times, and moments of insecurity may still arise. However, the more you actively challenge the notion that your worth is contingent upon others' opinions, the more liberated you will become. In the next lesson, we will explore how to trust your own inner voice. Transforming your relationship with yourself involves honing the ability to listen to that inner dialogue and differentiating it from the external noise. We will delve into actionable steps that will empower you to hear and trust that voice, allowing you to stand firm in your beliefs and choices. As you reflect on the insights from this lesson, consider how you can actively begin to rewrite your story and embrace your inherent value. Engaging with this content is just the beginning. Be sure to take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on what resonates with you. Your journey of self-discovery and validation continues, and there's much more to uncover. Lesson 3. Trusting your own inner voice. Have you ever felt an unsettling disconnection when trying to decipher your own thoughts amid the clamor of external opinions? This dissonance reflects a profound reality. Many individuals struggle to identify and trust their inner voice due to the overwhelming influence of external validation. The quest for acceptance often drowns out our innate wisdom, leading us to prioritize others' opinions over our own desires and instincts. This reliance can result in emotional turmoil and a debilitating lack of self-trust, the very essence of our decision-making ability. At the core of seeking validation lies the fundamental human need for approval and belonging. From childhood, we are conditioned to seek reassurance from caregivers, teachers, and peers, leading us to equate their approval with our worth. In this environment, the messages we internalize shape our self-perception, enhancing a deep reliance on external sources for validation. Psychological research has consistently demonstrated that individuals who prioritize social approval often experience heightened anxiety and self-doubt, struggling to cultivate a strong sense of identity separated from societal expectations. Consider the story of Lily, an ambitious young professional who constantly navigates office politics to gain favor from her superiors. Despite her intelligence and hard work, Lily finds herself second-guessing her thoughts and decisions, often modifying her ideas to align with what she believes others want to hear. This pattern fosters a crippling disconnect between her authentic self and her work persona, making her anxious about expressing her perspectives. The emotional toll of consistently sidelining her voice can lead to feelings of inadequacy, confusion, and frustration. Lily's experience resonates with many. It elucidates how the relentless pursuit of validation can compromise our ability to trust our judgment and ideas. In similar scenarios, we often see accomplished individuals in various fields shift their approach to align with the majority mindset. For instance, a talented musician may conform to popular trends instead of embracing their unique style, fearing that deviation will alienate audiences. Over time, this constant adaptation can stifle creativity, leading to disconnection from one's authentic artistic identity. In both instances, the push for external validation creates a barrier to trusting one's inner voice, replacing genuine expression with a performance aimed at pleasing others. Navigating interpersonal relationships also reveals how the need for validation can infiltrate our capacity for self-trust. When we seek confirmation from friends and family about our choices, we expose ourselves to the risk of manipulation, as outside opinions can steer our decisions away from our true desires. For example, a person contemplating a significant life change, such as pursuing a new career, may find themselves torn between their ambitions and the expectations of loved ones. This struggle often stems from a deep-seated fear of disappointing those around us, which clouds our ability to hear and trust our inner voice. Ultimately, recognizing and trusting your inner voice is essential for reclaiming your identity and fostering a sense of empowerment. It begins by acknowledging that your thoughts and feelings are valid and learning to differentiate them from the noise of external validation. This realization is a crucial first step toward building a strong foundation of self-trust and authenticity. As you embark on this journey, it is essential to uncover the hidden truth that your voice matters and that it is time to embrace it fully. Understanding the significance will lay the groundwork for the transformative journey ahead, preparing you for the next step in learning how to listen to and trust yourself amidst a world full of opinions. To cultivate the ability to trust your inner voice, one of the essential strategies is developing acute self-awareness. Begin by practicing mindfulness in your daily interactions and decisions. Pay close attention to your feelings when you face choices, whether small or significant. Are you leaning towards an opinion or action based on your own desires, or are external factors influencing you? Journaling can be an effective tool for this process. By recording your thoughts, feelings, and reactions, you can gain insight into patterns where you may have prioritized external validation over self-trust. This exercise will help you confront moments of doubt and identify when you're swayed by others' expectations. Another critical mindset shift involves reframing how you perceive discomfort. Many people perceive moments of uncertainty as threats, prompting them to seek validation as a source of reassurance. Instead, begin to view discomfort as an integral part of the growth process. Accepting that discomfort is a natural aspect of expressing your inner voice fosters resilience and courage. Psychological research reinforces this perspective. Studies show that embracing uncertainty and discomfort leads to increased emotional resilience, allowing individuals to navigate life's challenges without reliance on external affirmation. Actionable exercises can further support your journey toward self-trust. One effective method involves setting boundaries when seeking opinions from others. Before turning to friends or colleagues for feedback, give yourself a set period to reflect on your thoughts or decisions alone. For instance, if you are contemplating a life change, take a week to explore your feelings fully before discussing them with others. This practice reinforces the importance of your voice and helps you differentiate your genuine feelings from the noise around you. Consider the story of Alex, a young entrepreneur who struggled to make decisions for his startup due to a constant desire for others' approval. He would often seek opinions from mentors, friends, and even social media followers before launching new ideas. However, this approach caused him to second-guess his instincts and goals. Realizing the detrimental effects this was having on his business and self-esteem, Alex decided to create a weekly practice where he would set aside time for solitude and reflection. During this time, he would explore his ideas without external interference. Over time, Alex learned to trust his vision and judgment, launching several successful initiatives that reflected his true aspirations. His transformation illustrates the power of recognizing when to step back and listen to that inner voice, rather than succumbing to outside pressures. As you implement these strategies, remember the significance of practicing self-compassion. When you catch yourself seeking validation, acknowledge that it's a common human tendency and gently steer your focus back to your inner voice. The journey to trust yourself is not an overnight transformation, but an ongoing practice that requires patience and commitment. In the upcoming lesson, we will explore how to detach from others' expectations. We will delve into the critical skills needed to navigate social pressures without compromising your authenticity. This is essential in ensuring that your inner voice can flourish unencumbered by external demands. As you contemplate your personal journey of self-trust, consider sharing any moments where you've heard your inner voice prevail over outside influences. Your experiences matter, so don't hesitate to subscribe, like, or comment on what resonates with you. The path ahead promises to be intriguing and empowering as we move forward together. Lesson 4. Detaching from others' expectations. What if the life you lead is dictated more by the expectations of others than by your own aspirations? In a society that thrives on social acknowledgement and collective approval, many individuals become ensnared in a web of external expectations, a situation that causes them to silence their authentic desires. This perilous reliance on societal approval often obscures true self-identity, guiding decisions that are not genuinely of their own making but rather shaped by perceived norms and judgments. At the heart of seeking validation through others' expectations lies a strong psychological need for belonging and acceptance. Humans are inherently social creatures, and this desire manifests profoundly in our interactions and relationships. When we live in constant anticipation of approval, our self-worth becomes inextricably linked to how we are perceived by those around us. This linkage often leads to emotional challenges such as anxiety, fear of rejection, and chronic self-doubt. Psychological research provides clear evidence that individuals who adapt their behaviors to meet external standards often experience heightened stress and lower overall life satisfaction. Consider the story of Sarah, a talented graphic designer. Despite her creative passion, Sarah continually hesitated to pursue her dream projects because she feared judgment from her more conventionally minded colleagues. Her desire to fit within a professional mold forced her to mute her ideas in favor of what she perceived would be more acceptable. This suppression created a significant emotional toll. While outwardly successful, she felt unfulfilled and trapped in a role that didn't reflect her true self. Each time she reshaped her vision to align with others' expectations, she drifted further from her passions, amplifying her inner conflict. The trap of this external validation is pervasive, as illustrated by the experiences of many in personal relationships. Take Daniel, who found himself navigating a complex relationship with his family. They held strong opinions about the career path he should pursue, reinforcing their views through constant comparisons to more successful peers. Caught in this web of expectations, Daniel struggled to assert what he genuinely wanted, often compromising his goals to appease his family's beliefs. As he oscillated between personal ambition and familial obligation, he became engulfed in anxiety, uncertain about his choices, and increasingly disconnected from his true desires. These scenarios illustrate a painful yet common reality. When we prioritize external approval over personal authenticity, we stifle our potential and confuse our identities with those around us. The emotional consequence is a significant loss of self, where one feels caught in a perpetual chase to satisfy the expectations of others, often at the expense of personal fulfillment. Living this way not only undermines our sense of autonomy, but also breeds resentment and frustration, resulting in a cycle of discontent that can seem inescapable. Understanding the psychological dynamics at play is crucial for breaking free from the limitations imposed by others' expectations. Recognizing that our worth is not dictated by how well we fit into societal molds or familial standards allows us to begin the journey toward self-liberation. It is vital to reframe the narrative surrounding expectations, acknowledging that while they can provide guidance, they must never overshadow our intrinsic desires. By disentangling ourselves from the beliefs imposed by others, we can reclaim ownership over our lives and foster a sense of authenticity that nurtures true self-fulfillment. To begin the process of detaching yourself from the expectations of others, cultivating a heightened sense of self-awareness is essential. Start by identifying moments when you feel pressure to conform to external standards. Notice your emotional responses during these instances. Do you feel anxious, frustrated, or even resentful? Keeping a personal journal can serve as a valuable tool to document these experiences. By reflecting on situations where you felt compelled to meet others' expectations, you can begin to discern patterns and recognize the emotional weight that this pressure imposes on your well-being. Another effective strategy is to develop the mindset of viewing expectations as merely suggestions rather than obligations. This reframing allows you to prioritize your feelings, needs, and aspirations above external pressures. Embrace the idea that your path is uniquely yours, unencumbered by the expectations or judgments of others. Psychological research indicates that individuals who adopt a more flexible mindset regarding outside expectations report greater emotional resilience and overall life satisfaction. By recognizing that you have the power to decide which expectations to embrace and which to discard, you can strengthen your sense of autonomy. Actionable exercises can guide you deeper into this transformation. One approach is to conduct a self-inventory, where you assess your goals and values against the expectations that others have placed on you. Write down your top 5 personal values and compare them to the expectations expressed by family, friends, or colleagues. This exercise can illuminate discrepancies between what you genuinely value and what others expect of you. Once you identify these differences, prioritize setting goals that resonate with your authentic self. For example, if one of your values is creativity, but you feel pressured to pursue a more conventional career path, this understanding can drive you to explore creative industries that fulfill your true calling. Consider the real-life case of Mia, a woman who was constantly torn between her desire to travel and her family's insistence on a stable career. For years, she sought validation through her family's approval, adjusting her goals to fit their expectations. It wasn't until she engaged in a self-inventory exercise that she recognized a profound conflict between her ambitions and her family's traditional views. By coming to terms with her desire for adventure and independence, Mia slowly began charting a new course, setting measurable goals for travel that aligned with her core values. This experience underscored the importance of redefining what success looks like for her, enabling her to pursue her aspirations authentically. As you embark on your journey to detach from external expectations, practice self-compassion. Acknowledge that the urge to seek approval is a common trait of human behavior, recognizing that it may take time to unlearn these patterns. Each small step toward asserting your preferences can build your resilience and reinforce your sense of self. Looking ahead to the next lesson, we will explore the essential topic of overcoming the fear of judgment. By understanding the roots of this fear and acquiring practical strategies to face it, you will empower yourself to express your true self in a world fraught with scrutiny. As you contemplate your own experiences with expectations, consider sharing moments when you actively chose your path over external pressures. Your insights can resonate with others on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, or comment on what has inspired you thus far. Together, we continue to unravel the layers of self-discovery and empowerment, paving the way for a life guided by authenticity. Lesson 5. Overcoming the fear of judgment. What if your life choices were solely dictated by the opinions of others, leaving you trapped in a web of fear and uncertainty? The fear of judgment is a pervasive barrier that stifles authenticity, urging individuals to conform to societal norms rather than pursuing their true selves. This fear often stems from a deep-rooted belief that approval from others is fundamental to one's worth and acceptance, leading to a life lived in constant worry about what others think. Psychologically, the fear of judgment is tied to our fundamental need for belonging and acceptance. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and as such, we have evolved to seek validation and approval from those around us. This instinct can lead us to prioritize others' opinions over our own, culminating in a paralyzing fear that distorts how we see ourselves. When we allow others' perceptions to dictate our self-worth, we often engage in self-censorship, stifling our voices and desires to avoid disapproval. Psychological studies underscore that those who are excessively concerned with judgment from others report higher levels of anxiety and self-doubt, often struggling to pursue their ambitions. Consider the experience of Jake, an aspiring actor who constantly seeks validation from his peers and mentors. Despite his talent and passion, Jake finds himself paralyzed by the fear of judgment. Each time he auditions, he grapples with overwhelming self-doubt, focusing more on what casting directors might think than on delivering his best performance. This cycle of fear prevents him from tapping into his authentic creativity, ultimately reinforcing his belief that he is not good enough. Jake's story reflects a common struggle, revealing how the fear of judgment can inhibit our ability to embrace our true ambitions. Similarly, the workplace can serve as a breeding ground for this fear. Imagine Emily, who feels compelled to conform to her boss's management style, choosing to stifle her own innovative ideas to avoid criticism. Every time she hesitates to voice her thoughts, she diminishes her sense of agency and creativity, believing that fitting into the existing framework is safer than risking judgment. The cumulative effect of this fear can lead to a toxic cycle where individuals suppress their potential and remain stagnant, legitimizing their insecurities instead of pursuing their aspirations. The implications of living in fear of judgment extend to personal relationships as well. In friendships, we may censor our true opinions out of fear that expressing our uniqueness will alienate others. This behavior erodes the foundation of genuine relationships, where openness is often essential for deep connections. Many individuals cultivate superficial connections while burying their authentic selves, resulting in feelings of isolation and frustration. Recognizing the emotional turmoil that stems from the fear of judgment is the first step toward liberation. Realizing that such fears are often unfounded can serve as a catalyst for change. In the grand scheme of life, the voices of critics often matter far less than we imagine. Understanding that judgment is a part of the human experience and that everyone grapples with insecurity helps to normalize these feelings, allowing for a more self-compassionate approach. Thus, the journey of overcoming the fear of judgment begins with awareness and the recognition that your value is not determined by others' opinions, but intrinsically linked to who you are and what you aspire to become. To effectively overcome the fear of judgment, the first strategy is to cultivate self-awareness around your feelings and behaviors in social situations. Begin by paying attention to moments when you feel anxious or hesitant due to others' opinions. Document these instances in a journal, noting specific triggers, your emotional reactions, and the potential impact on your decision-making. This practice of reflection promotes self-understanding and highlights patterns in your interactions. By making these moments visible, you can start to reclaim agency over your choices and gain clarity on how the fear of judgment influences your actions. Next, challenge the cognitive distortions associated with your fear of judgment. Often, individuals catastrophize situations, imagining the worst possible outcomes based on their perceptions of others' opinions. When you find yourself spiraling into such negative thoughts, counter them with rational, evidence-based reflections. Ask yourself questions like, what evidence do I have that supports this fear? Or, what's the worst that could realistically happen if I express my true self? Engaging in this cognitive restructuring can help diminish the power that these fears hold over you and provide a more balanced perspective. A transformative mindset shift involves embracing vulnerability as a source of strength. Rather than viewing vulnerability as a weakness, reframe it as an opportunity for authentic connection and personal growth. Psychological research reveals that individuals who practice vulnerability tend to have richer, more rewarding relationships and experience greater emotional resilience. Learning to share your thoughts and feelings with others opens the door for meaningful conversations and connections, ultimately dispelling the fear of judgment that often isolates us. To further cement this mindset, engage in real-world challenges that promote authenticity. Start small. Share an opinion or personal experience in a safe environment, whether it be with friends, family, or even at work. Allow yourself to express thoughts that reflect your true self without filtering them for approval. Reflect afterward on how it felt to be authentic and whether the feared outcomes materialized. Over time, these small acts of authenticity can build confidence and desensitize you to the fear of judgment. Consider the real-life account of Marcus, a community leader who battled feelings of inadequacy rooted in the fear of judgment. His desire to be liked led him to suppress his thoughts in meetings, yielding instead to dominant voices. Recognizing this pattern, he committed to voicing his ideas in every meeting, regardless of how they might be received. While the first few instances were uncomfortable, he gradually learned that authenticity resonated with others, often fostering more robust discussions. This shift not only transformed his leadership style, but also enhanced the dynamics of his team, leading to innovative solutions that emerged from the diverse perspectives he encouraged. As you implement these strategies, practice self-compassion. Understand that overcoming the fear of judgment is a journey, and occasional setbacks are part of the process. The more you choose to invest in being true to yourself, the more you will cultivate a resilient mindset in the face of perceived scrutiny. In the next lesson, we will investigate building emotional independence daily. We'll explore its significance in fostering a stable sense of self that is less affected by external opinions and more anchored in personal convictions. As you reflect on your experiences with the fear of judgment, consider sharing insights or moments when vulnerability transformed your interactions. Your feedback is invaluable, as we continue this journey towards self-empowerment. So please take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on what resonates with you. The exploration of self-growth and authenticity is just beginning, and together, we can navigate this transformative path. Lesson 6. Building emotional independence. Daily. What if your happiness depended less on the approval of others and more on your own choices? The pursuit of emotional independence is critical for fostering a stable sense of self that thrives beyond external validation. When individuals tie their self-worth to the opinions and expectations of others, they become vulnerable to emotional turbulence. This reliance diminishes their ability to navigate life's complexities with confidence and resilience, often leading to feelings of inadequacy and distress. Psychologically, the need for external validation is deeply ingrained in our social structure. Human beings are wired for connection, and during formative years, approval from parents and peers shapes our self-image. However, when this need evolves into dependence, it often morphs into a crippling habit that undermines our emotional well-being. Research suggests that individuals who constantly seek validation experience heightened anxiety levels. They often struggle with self-doubt, fearing that if they do not meet others' expectations, they will be unworthy of love or respect. Consider the example of Tom, a young professional whose self-esteem is inextricably linked to his performance reviews. Each time he receives feedback, he meticulously dissects the comments, fixating on constructive criticism to the point of paralysis. Tom often finds himself anxious before performance evaluations, his self-worth contingent on how he is perceived. This behavior not only diminishes his professional efficacy, but also stifles his growth and creativity. The pressure he places on himself to meet external standards leads him to overlook his strengths, trapping him in a cycle of self-criticism and emotional volatility. This dependence on external validation can also manifest in personal relationships. Take Lucy, for instance, who often alters her opinions to please her friends. When her friends suggest activity choices or voice disagreement, Lucy immediately concedes to maintain harmony, burying her desires in the process. Over time, this pattern leads her to feel increasingly disconnected from her identity, as her true preferences become obscured by the need to be liked and accepted. Each instance reinforces a painful truth. Lucy risks losing her voice to adhere to the expectations of others, fostering feelings of emptiness and frustration. When we seek approval outside ourselves, we relinquish our emotional autonomy and, in turn, cultivate a fragile sense of self. This vulnerability becomes a breeding ground for resentment and anxiety, as we find ourselves defined not by our own choices, but by a mosaic of others' opinions. The emotional toll of living this way can manifest as chronic dissatisfaction, hindering our ability to live authentically and pursue our true ambitions. To overcome this emotional dependence, it is essential to acknowledge the importance of self-validation. Recognizing that your worth is intrinsic and not solely reliant on external accolades is a powerful first step toward fostering independence. By validating your own feelings, thoughts, and choices, you begin the journey of self-acceptance. Building emotional independence is not merely an aspiration. It is a crucial element of personal empowerment. By fostering a robust sense of self-reflection and self-compassion, you can create an internal dialogue that nurtures your emotional health, shielding you from the tumult of external judgment. Through these practices, you can reclaim your voice, fortify your self-identity, and embrace the truth that your worthiness is inherent, a truth that no external validation can diminish. To build emotional independence, the first strategy is to develop keen self-awareness regarding moments when you rely on external validation for your self-worth. Start by paying attention to your thoughts and feelings throughout the day. When do you feel anxious or uncertain about your choices? Document these feelings in a journal, noting specific scenarios where the need for approval arises. By identifying patterns, such as feeling particularly vulnerable during social interactions or performance evaluations, you can better understand the triggers that lead you to seek validation outside yourself. This understanding is crucial for breaking the habit of emotional dependency. Another effective approach is to challenge the underlying beliefs that fuel your need for validation. Often, individuals hold deep-seated convictions that their worth is tied to how they are perceived. When you catch yourself thinking, "What will others think of me?" or "I need their approval to be okay?" consciously intervene and reframe those thoughts. Shift your focus to affirmations that center on your intrinsic worth. For instance, remind yourself, "I am enough, regardless of others' opinions," or "My value is not determined by external factors." Psychological research emphasizes that positive self-affirmations can significantly bolster self-esteem and reduce anxiety, fostering a more positive self-image that is less reliant on outside opinions. Actionable exercises can further reinforce emotional independence. One practical exercise involves engaging in a daily practice of self-affirmation. Each morning, take a few moments to articulate your strengths and what makes you unique. Write them down and revisit these affirmations throughout the day. This process not only reinforces your identity but creates a robust internal dialogue that prioritizes self-worth over external validation. Consider the case of Rachel, who struggled with emotional dependency, relying heavily on her partner's approval for her decisions. She often sought confirmation before making even trivial choices, such as what to wear or where to go for dinner. Realizing that this dependency was eroding her sense of self, Rachel committed to spending time each week engaging in activities that she enjoyed independently. This included hobbies she had neglected while focusing on maintaining harmony in the relationship. Over time, Rachel began to appreciate her uniqueness and was able to make decisions based on her preferences rather than her partner's expectations. This not only strengthened her emotional independence, but deepened the relationship as she brought a more authentic self into her interactions. A critical mindset shift involves viewing mistakes as learning opportunities rather than reflections of your worth. This perspective encourages resilience and fosters an environment where you can explore your true interests without the fear of judgment. Embracing the idea that everyone makes mistakes will prioritize growth over perfection and lessen the anxiety associated with seeking validation from others. As you work through these strategies, remember that the path to emotional independence is iterative. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and practice self-compassion during setbacks. Over time, these actions will cultivate a stronger sense of self that is rooted in your inherent value rather than external validation. In the next lesson, we will delve into the critical topic of strengthening self-trust through action. We will explore how making deliberate choices fosters confidence and builds a resilient relationship with oneself. Reflecting on your journey towards emotional independence, consider sharing moments when you chose personal authenticity over external approval. Your insights are vital as we continue this transformative exploration, so please take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on what has resonated with you thus far. Together, we will empower ourselves to live with more authenticity and strength. Lesson 7. Strengthening self-trust through action. Imagine walking through life with the unwavering belief that your choices matter, irrespective of external opinions. Strengthening self-trust is not just a matter of affirming one's worth. It involves taking intentional actions that reinforce your ability to rely on your judgment. When individuals constantly seek validation from others, they diminish their capacity to trust themselves, leading to indecision, self-doubt, and a heightened vulnerability to external influences. The journey to self-trust empowers you to reclaim your autonomy and helps you navigate life's complexities with confidence. Psychologically, the need for validation often stems from early life experiences, where approval played a critical role in reinforcing behavior. When children learn that parental or social approval is linked to their worth, they begin to shape their identities based on what pleases others. This conditioning can create a pervasive fear of making decisions that are not aligned with collective expectations, leading to a tentative approach to both personal and professional choices. Research in psychology confirms that individuals who overly rely on external validation typically experience anxiety and low self-esteem, further complicating their ability to act decisively. Consider the story of Nina, a talented writer who found herself seeking constant feedback from her peers before publishing any work. Each time she finished an article, Nina would hesitate, worrying about how others would perceive it. This fear of judgment led her to delay sharing her writing, stifling her creativity and growth. Instead of embracing her voice, she remained trapped in a cycle of seeking external approval, which only deepened her self-doubt. This behavioral pattern is indicative of a broader issue. When individuals anchor their self-worth to the perceptions of others, they hinder their capacity to take action and trust their abilities. Similarly, in the workplace, we see this dynamic at play when employees draw on their colleagues' opinions to validate their ideas. Mark, a software developer, regularly second-guessed his innovative solutions, opting instead to conform to the established practices favored by his team leader. This inclination to defer to others diminished his confidence, leaving him feeling inadequately equipped to contribute meaningfully. Understanding that our professional environments often mirror societal expectations reveals a profound truth. When we look externally for validation, we risk suppressing our unique contributions and talents. The emotional consequences of lacking self-trust are significant. Individuals become paralyzed by indecision. They may avoid opportunities for fear of judgment, thus missing out on personal and professional growth. This avoidance creates a feedback loop that reinforces feelings of inadequacy, leading to chronic stress and dissatisfaction. The longer one remains entrenched in this cycle, the more challenging it becomes to break free and reconstruct a relationship based on trust in oneself. Recognizing the psychological and emotional dimensions of seeking validation is vital to transforming this habit into one that fosters self-trust. By taking deliberate action, even small steps in line with your values and desires, you gradually reinforce the belief that your judgment is valid. This alignment between action and personal conviction creates a foundation for confidence, allowing you to navigate challenges with a sense of agency. Strengthening self-trust through action is a practice that requires patience and continued effort. As you embark on this transformative path, hold on to the understanding that each decision you make reinforces your autonomy, gradually paving the way for an empowered self that values its own voice, choices, and journey. Embracing this philosophy not only enhances individual resilience, but also contributes to a deeper connection with your authentic self. To strengthen self-trust through action, the first step is to cultivate self-awareness about the behaviors that undermine your trust in yourself. Begin by noticing moments when you hesitate to make decisions due to the perceived expectations of others. Identify the specific thoughts that influence this hesitation. Are you worried about what others might think? Do you fear making the wrong choice? Journaling can help track these feelings in real time, allowing you to analyze the circumstances and consequences that prompt you to seek outside validation. This reflective practice will empower you to recognize patterns and gain a clearer understanding of how these influences affect your decision-making. Another pivotal strategy involves challenging the beliefs that bind you to the need for external validation. When you catch yourself questioning your judgment, consciously reframe these thoughts using a technique known as cognitive restructuring. Instead of thinking, "I need their approval," pivot your mindset to, "I trust my instincts, and I am capable of making sound decisions." Psychological research demonstrates that cognitive restructuring can lead to increased self-confidence and a greater sense of agency. By reinforcing the belief in your judgment, you lay the groundwork for actions that reflect your authentic self. Engaging in actionable exercises is crucial for reinforcing self-trust. One effective practice involves setting personal challenges that are tied to your interests and values. For example, if you feel passionate about a particular subject, dedicate time to share your thoughts in a blog or social media post without seeking prior approval. This commitment to expressing yourself fosters self-trust and encourages you to own your voice. Another challenge could be initiating a conversation that expresses your opinion in a group setting, allowing yourself to speak without hesitation. Each successful endeavor serves as an affirmation of your capabilities, gradually building a resilient trust in your decisions. Consider the real-life story of Raj, who struggled with self-doubt in his personal and professional life. His career in marketing was marked by a habit of constantly seeking approval for his ideas. Realizing he needed to combat this dependence, Raj began setting bi-weekly challenges for himself. He started by presenting his original ideas in team meetings without prior consultation. The initial discomfort dissipated with practice, and he discovered that his colleagues valued his unique contributions. Raj unearthed a newfound confidence that propelled him forward, allowing him to trust his ideas and judgments without constant external validation. His journey exemplifies how intentional action can enhance self-trust and foster authenticity. A critical mindset shift involves embracing the understanding that perfection is unattainable. Accept that mistakes and missteps are part of the growth process. When you expand your view of failure as an opportunity to learn rather than a reflection of your worth, you begin to dismantle the fear of judgment that holds you back. Psychological studies affirm that adopting a growth mindset not only promotes resilience, but also fosters a more compassionate self-evaluation. As you navigate the journey towards strengthening self-trust, remember to practice self-compassion. Acknowledge the difficulties inherent in breaking free from the habit of seeking validation, and celebrate the small victories along the way. Each step taken toward trusting yourself not only enhances your emotional autonomy, but also cultivates a deeper connection with your authentic self. In the upcoming lesson, we will explore the essential theme of embracing authenticity without apology. We will delve into the power of vulnerability and how fully accepting ourselves unlocks the potential for genuine connections. As you reflect on your journey to self-trust, consider sharing your experiences with self-doubt and how you've begun to confront those fears. Your insights matter greatly in this shared journey of growth, so feel free to subscribe, like, and comment on what resonates with you. Together, we will continue to unravel the layers of self-discovery and empowerment. Lesson 8. Embracing authenticity without apology. What if the key to true happiness lies not in seeking approval, but in unapologetically expressing your authentic self? Embracing authenticity is a profound act of self-acceptance that liberates individuals from the suffocating need for validation. Yet for many, the journey to authenticity is fraught with anxiety and insecurity, primarily driven by a deeply ingrained fear of judgment from others. This fear often holds individuals captive, preventing them from stepping into their true identity and living a life aligned with their values and passions. The psychological roots of validation-seeking behavior can often be traced back to formative experiences that connect self-worth with external approval. In childhood, the quest for parental affirmation often overshadows the intrinsic value of personal expression. As adults, many find themselves echoing this pattern, measuring their worth against societal standards or the favor of peers. This dependency on external validation nurtures a cycle of self-doubt where individuals suppress their true selves to fit into predefined molds, abandoning their genuine passions in the process. Research has shown that this reliance on others' approval can lead to increased levels of anxiety, depression, and a chronic sense of unfulfillment. Take the example of Laura, a talented musician whose self-doubt clouded her performances. Although her passion for music burned brightly, she continuously sought external validation from her audience, often modifying her unique style to cater to popular trends. This left her feeling disconnected from her art, creating a chasm between who she truly was and how she presented herself. Each performance became an exercise in self-censorship, rather than an expression of her authentic voice. The emotional toll of this behavior manifested in anxiety and frustration, stifling her creativity and leading to a cycle of self-doubt that stymied her growth as an artist. Similarly, we observe this pattern in professional environments. Consider the case of David, a graphic designer who tailored his creative concepts to align with his boss's preferences. Fearful of negative feedback, he often refrained from presenting innovative ideas that diverged from established norms. This behavior not only stifled his creativity, but also left him feeling discontented and disengaged from his work. David's narrative reflects a painful reality. By prioritizing external approval over personal authenticity, individuals forfeit their unique contributions and diminish their sense of belonging. The emotional consequences of abandoning authenticity for the sake of validation are profound. When individuals suppress their true selves, they often experience feelings of frustration, isolation, and disconnection. This disconnection can pervade various aspects of life, leading to strained relationships and a sense of being adrift in a world that feels disingenuous. Conversely, embracing authenticity, fully accepting and expressing who you are, creates a deep sense of fulfillment and connection to life. Recognizing the importance of authenticity is the first step toward liberation. Understanding that your worth is intrinsic, regardless of external opinions, facilitates the journey toward self-acceptance. The realization that everyone has unique perspectives and gifts allows you to appreciate the beauty of diversity, empowering you to celebrate your individuality without apology. As you begin to navigate this path, self-reflection becomes an essential practice. Engage in exercises that explore your passions, interests, and values, identifying what makes you feel most alive and authentic. By actively embracing these elements of self-expression, you can reclaim your narrative, stepping into a space where your voice is no longer muted by the fear of judgment. In the next lesson, we will explore the transformative power of letting go of people-pleasing habits. We will discuss how releasing the compulsion to appease others can lead to deeper, more meaningful connections and a more fulfilling life. As you reflect on your own journey towards authenticity, consider sharing experiences where you embraced your true self despite societal pressures. Your insights contribute to a collective narrative of empowerment and growth. So take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on how this resonates with you. Together, we can continue this exploration of self-discovery and authenticity. To fully embrace authenticity without apology, the first strategy involves developing acute self-awareness regarding moments when you suppress your true self for the approval of others. Start by monitoring your thoughts and behaviors in various social situations. When do you find yourself altering your opinions or behaviors to gain favor? Maintaining a journal can be incredibly beneficial in this process. Record instances where you hesitated to express your true feelings or opinions and analyze the underlying reasons. By recognizing these patterns, you empower yourself to challenge the automatic responses that lead to conformity. Another effective approach is to engage in perspective shifting. When you feel compelled to suppress your authenticity, remind yourself of the unique value that your true self brings to any interaction. Shift your mindset from, "What will they think of me?" to "What if I share my true self and it inspires others?" Research indicates that individuals who actively cultivate a growth mindset experience greater resilience and overall satisfaction, as they view challenges and vulnerability as essential parts of personal development. This perspective encourages you to embrace the discomfort of vulnerability, allowing you to feel more confident in expressing your genuine self. Incorporating actionable exercises into your daily routine can significantly enhance your journey toward authenticity. Begin with small, manageable challenges that push you to express your true thoughts and feelings. For instance, during a group discussion, rather than conforming to popular opinion, voice a dissenting view or share a unique insight. Observe the reactions of others and reflect on how it feels to stand by your beliefs, regardless of external validation. Each successful experience in expressing your authenticity reinforces your confidence and ability to navigate the world as your authentic self. Consider the journey of Leo, who struggled for years to express his creativity in the predominantly corporate environment where he worked. His ideas often clashed with the conventional approaches favored by his colleagues. Realizing this disconnect, he decided to initiate a personal project where he could explore his artistic side on his own terms. By sharing his work through social media, Leo began to receive encouragement from friends and fellow creatives. Over time, he became more confident in merging his artistic sensibilities into his corporate work, transforming his approach to projects without bowing to the pressure of conformity. Leo's experience highlights how embracing authenticity can yield not only personal satisfaction, but can also inspire others. A vital mindset shift necessary for embracing authenticity is recognizing that it is not only acceptable but essential to express one's true self. Understand that false facades can lead to chronic dissatisfaction and hinder the building of genuine relationships. When individuals present a curated version of themselves, they miss out on authentic connections that come from vulnerability. Research supports that vulnerability can foster deeper emotional bonds, as it invites others to reciprocate openness. Lastly, practice self-compassion throughout this journey. Acknowledge that embracing authenticity can feel uncomfortable and even frightening at times. Celebrate each step you take towards expressing your true self, no matter how small. The more you engage in authentic expressions, the more natural it will become, leading to a richer, more fulfilling experience of life. Looking ahead to the next lesson, we will delve into the important topic of letting go of people-pleasing habits. This exploration will equip you with the tools to resist the compulsion to seek approval at the expense of your desires, paving the way for deeper self-acceptance and inner peace. As you reflect on your own journey towards authenticity, consider sharing examples of when you have chosen to be true to yourself despite external pressures. Your insights can empower others on their paths. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on how this content resonates with you. Together, we can foster a culture of authenticity and empowerment as we continue our transformative journey. Lesson 9. Letting go of people-pleasing habits. What if your desire to please others is the very thing holding you back from living your most authentic life? People-pleasing is a pervasive habit that often stems from deep-seated fears of rejection and a strong need for approval. The act of constantly catering to others' needs at the expense of your own desires can create a profound disconnect between who you are and how you present yourself to the world. While the initial intent may be to foster harmony and maintain relationships, the long-term implications often produce dissatisfaction, resentment, and a diminished sense of self-worth. The psychological underpinnings of people-pleasing habits frequently trace back to childhood experiences where individuals learn to equate their value with the happiness they could bring to others. In environments where validation came through approval, whether from parents, peers, or authority figures, many individuals internalize the belief that their needs are secondary to those around them. This conditioning leads to emotional reliance on external affirmation for self-esteem, resulting in an incessant cycle where personal desires become subservient to the expectations of others. Research shows that individuals with strong people-pleasing tendencies often struggle with anxiety and low self-esteem, stemming from the constant pressure to meet perceived expectations. Take the case of Mia, a young professional who found herself unable to refuse requests from colleagues, even when her workload became overwhelming. Her fear of disappointing others led her to prioritize their needs above her own, often resulting in late nights and burnout. This cycle of compliance reinforced her belief that her value hinged on her ability to accommodate others, generating a sense of fatigue and disillusionment. Each time Mia suppressed her own needs to meet someone else's expectations, she inched further away from her own aspirations, leading to a deep sense of dissatisfaction in her work and life. Similarly, we observe this behavior in friendships and family dynamics. Consider Jason, who continuously alters his opinions and cancels plans to appease his friends. His grave fear of rejection compels him to agree with whatever his peers propose, often resulting in a loss of personal interests and passions. In this instance, Jason not only forfeits his individuality, but also risks falling into relationships that lack authenticity. The emotional toll is significant. Living a life that bends to the will of others can create feelings of resentment and inadequacy, as he feels disconnected from the essence of who he truly is. The consequences of persistent people-pleasing extend beyond mere discomfort. They can lead to relational strain and feelings of isolation. When individuals constantly prioritize the desires of others, the realization that they have compromised their identity becomes painfully apparent. This estrangement from one's true self paves the way for chronic feelings of disappointment and lack of fulfillment, as individuals grapple with the reality of being unrecognized for their authentic selves. Recognizing these patterns is vital for breaking free from the cycle of people-pleasing. Begin by acknowledging the times when you feel compelled to say yes out of fear rather than genuine desire. Ask yourself whether your motivations arise from an authentic place or from a desire to appease. This reflective practice can illuminate the disconnect between your feelings and actions, highlighting the need for change. As you navigate this journey of letting go of people-pleasing habits, remember that your needs and desires deserve equal attention and respect. Embracing this shift not only bolsters your sense of self, but also cultivates healthier relationships based on authenticity and mutual respect. In the next lesson, we will explore the importance of cultivating inner resilience and strength. We will discuss how nurturing these qualities empowers you to remain steadfast in your authenticity, even in the face of external pressures. As you reflect on your experiences with people-pleasing, consider sharing moments where you took a stand for your own needs. Your journey is valuable, and your stories can inspire others in their pursuits. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on what resonates with you. Together, we will continue to unravel the layers of self-discovery and empowerment. To effectively let go of people-pleasing habits, the first strategy involves cultivating self-awareness regarding the triggers that lead to people-pleasing behaviors. Begin by observing your thoughts and feelings in social situations. When faced with a decision, ask yourself if your inclination to please others overrides your true feelings or wants. Journaling can be a powerful tool in this process. Document specific instances where you felt compelled to say yes when you really wanted to say no, and analyze the circumstances surrounding those moments. This exercise will help reveal the patterns and emotional responses tied to your tendency to prioritize others' needs over your own. Another essential strategy is to challenge the negative beliefs that fuel your people-pleasing impulses. Many individuals operate under the assumption that their value is directly linked to their ability to please others. Engaging in cognitive restructuring can dramatically shift this mindset. When you catch yourself thinking, "If I don't say yes, they won't like me," or "I need to keep the peace at all costs," consciously reframe those thoughts. Consider iterations such as, "My needs are just as important as theirs," or "It's okay to say no. My authenticity strengthens my relationships." Psychological research has shown that challenging harmful beliefs can foster greater self-esteem and more authentic connections with others. To further support your journey toward self-assertion, engage in actionable exercises that encourage saying no and prioritizing self-care. Start with something small. For instance, commit to declining a minor request. This could be skipping a social event you don't genuinely want to attend, or saying no to an obligation that doesn't align with your values. Afterward, reflect on your feelings about asserting your boundaries. It may feel uncomfortable initially, but acknowledging this discomfort is part of the growth process. Over time, these small victories will reinforce your ability to prioritize your authentic self, reducing the compulsion to please. Consider the experience of Tara, who found herself overcommitted in both her personal and professional life due to her people-pleasing tendencies. Realizing this pattern was detrimental to her well-being, Tara initiated a personal challenge of saying no to one request each week. The first time she declined a friend's invitation to provide help with an event, she experienced a surge of anxiety, but also an overwhelming sense of relief. Tara reflected on the situation and realized that her self-worth didn't hinge on accommodating others. Gradually, she built stronger boundaries and became more attuned to her own needs, teaching her friends that her well-being mattered just as much as theirs. A crucial mindset shift in overcoming people-pleasing involves recognizing the inherent right to your own feelings and desires. Understanding that your value doesn't diminish when you say no is essential. Instead of perceiving assertiveness as a rejection of others, view it as an act of self-respect that ultimately fosters healthier, more authentic relationships. Research indicates that embracing this shift can lead to higher self-esteem and lower levels of anxiety, as individuals learn to take ownership of their lives. Finally, practice self-compassion as you work to sever people-pleasing habits. Understand that change takes time, and setbacks are part of the journey. Acknowledge your efforts to assert your needs and celebrate each small success on the path to greater authenticity and self-care. In the upcoming lesson, we will explore the significance of cultivating inner resilience and strength. This exploration will provide you with the tools to navigate challenges confidently, fortifying your ability to remain true to yourself in a world that often pressures conformity. As you reflect on your experiences with people-pleasing, consider sharing times when you asserted your boundaries and how it felt. Your stories can inspire others on this path of self-discovery. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment on your thoughts. Together, we will continue our journey of empowerment and growth. Lesson 10. Cultivating Inner Resilience and Strength. What if the key to navigating life's challenges lies within your own emotional reservoir? Cultivating inner resilience and strength is essential for overcoming obstacles and maintaining a steadfast sense of self, especially in a world that often seeks to undermine our confidence through external judgment. Inner resilience allows you to remain steadfast in your values, dreams, and self-acceptance, making you less susceptible to the ebbs and flows of societal validation. The psychological roots of seeking validation are often tied to early experiences that create a fragile sense of self-worth. When individuals grow up in environments where approval is conditional and tied to performance, they develop an all-consuming need for external affirmation. This dependency often leads to emotional volatility, where individuals experience significant fluctuations in self-esteem based on the reactions of others. Research in psychology has demonstrated that this reliance on external validation not only increases anxiety but also hinders emotional growth, making it difficult to develop the resilience necessary for personal empowerment. Take Emma, for example. A passionate graphic designer, Emma found herself constantly seeking validation from her peers and superiors. Each time she submitted her work, she would become consumed by the fear of criticism, anxiously anticipating feedback that could affirm or undermine her self-worth. As the cycle continued, Emma noticed that each piece of criticism felt like a personal attack, leading her to doubt her abilities and creativity. This suffocating fear of judgment ultimately stifled her growth, preventing her from fully expressing her artistic vision. Emma's story exemplifies how the need for validation can create a barrier to resilience, shaping a negative cycle that diminishes self-esteem. Moreover, consider the story of Tom, who faced significant setbacks after facing rejection in his personal life. He had invested heavily in gaining the approval of a partner, but was met with disappointment. This rejection led Tom to feel that his worth was diminished, causing him to retreat from social interactions. His experience highlights how emotionally draining rejection can be, especially when self-worth is tied to others' opinions. In both cases, the individuals found themselves caught in unhealthy patterns, struggling to rediscover their sense of identity without external validation. The emotional fallout from relying on others to affirm one's worth can be profound. When individuals fail to cultivate inner resilience, they become more vulnerable to anxiety, depression, and disconnection from their authentic selves. The inability to stand firm in one's convictions can lead to feelings of inadequacy, resulting in a chronic lack of fulfillment. Recognizing the importance of cultivating inner resilience is crucial for breaking free from the constraints of validation-seeking behavior. The first step is to engage in self-reflection and identify the beliefs that contribute to your dependence on external affirmation. Acknowledge moments when you feel insecure or anxious about how others perceive you. Journaling these feelings can reveal patterns that highlight the underlying fears connected to self-worth, allowing you to confront and challenge them. To build inner resilience, it is essential to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the kindness and understanding you would offer a friend going through similar struggles. Embrace the notion that setbacks are a natural part of growth. They provide valuable lessons that contribute to your emotional strength. Research indicates that self-compassion fosters resilience, encouraging individuals to rebound more effectively from adversity. In summary, cultivating inner resilience and strength is a vital element of self-validation that empowers you to embrace your true self without the need for external approval. By recognizing the emotional toll of seeking validation, challenging limiting beliefs, and engaging in practices that nurture self-compassion, you can develop a robust inner framework that supports your journey toward authenticity and fulfillment. In the next lesson, we will explore the transformative power of finding confidence in being misunderstood. We will discuss how embracing the differences that set you apart can lead to personal growth and stronger connections with others. As you reflect on your pursuit of resilience, consider sharing your own experiences of overcoming challenges. Your reflections can inspire and uplift others in their journeys. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on what you find meaningful as we continue this valuable exploration together. To cultivate inner resilience, the first strategy is to develop an acute awareness of how often you rely on external validation to shape your self-worth. Begin by monitoring your emotional responses in various situations. When do you find yourself feeling anxious or uncertain based on others' opinions? By keeping a journal, you can document these feelings and identify patterns that highlight your dependence on external affirmation. This reflective practice serves as the foundation for change, enabling you to confront your feelings of inadequacy and recognize situations where your validation-seeking behavior emerges. Next, engage in cognitive reframing to challenge and alter the beliefs that support your need for approval. When negative thoughts arise, such as, "If they don't appreciate my work, I must not be good enough," actively replace these thoughts with affirmations that reinforce your intrinsic value. A more constructive thought could be, "My worth is not defined by others' opinions, and I can derive satisfaction from my own efforts." Psychological studies demonstrate that reframing negative thoughts can significantly enhance self-esteem and emotional well-being, fostering a more resilient mindset that prioritizes authenticity over external approval. Incorporating actionable exercises into your routine is also crucial for building resilience. One effective exercise is to practice self-affirmation techniques. Each day, set aside time to list 3 qualities or achievements that you value in yourself. This could be anything from your ability to empathize with others, your creative talents, or your capacity for hard work. By explicitly recognizing your strengths, you begin to reshape your internal dialogue and reinforce your sense of self-worth outside of external validation. Consider the real-life example of Kevin, an introverted software developer who initially struggled with his self-image because he constantly sought validation from his peers. After attending a workshop on self-care and resilience, he began to utilize daily affirmations, focusing on his skills and passions in programming. Kevin also made a commitment to voice his ideas in team meetings, regardless of whether they aligned with popular opinion. At first, this was daunting, but as he practiced, he found confidence in his contributions increased significantly. Over time, Kevin came to appreciate his unique perspective and felt more comfortable expressing his ideas, which not only lifted his self-esteem, but also earned him respect from colleagues. A vital mindset shift is embracing the notion that being misunderstood is part of the growth process. Instead of viewing misunderstandings as failures, reframe them as opportunities to learn about yourself and others. Research indicates that individuals who approach challenges with a growth mindset report greater resilience and emotional stability, as they can navigate life with a sense of curiosity rather than fear of criticism. Additionally, practicing self-compassion is essential when navigating the complexities of seeking validation. Understand that everyone is on their own journey, and it is natural to experience setbacks along the way. Allow yourself grace during moments of insecurity, and recognize that self-worth comes from being true to who you are rather than from the approval of others. Acknowledging your imperfections and treating yourself kindly fosters resilience and helps build a more stable foundation for personal growth. As you continue on the path toward cultivating inner resilience and strength, remember that each step you take refines your ability to rely on your authentic self. It encourages you to embrace your unique journey without the weight of others' expectations. In the next lesson, we will delve into finding confidence in being misunderstood. We will explore how embracing your individuality, even when it is not readily accepted, can lead to profound personal growth and deeper connections with others. As you reflect on your journey toward resilience, consider sharing experiences when you felt misunderstood and how you navigated those moments. Your stories can inspire and uplift others in their journeys. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment on what resonates with you as we continue this enriching exploration together. Lesson 11. Finding confidence in being misunderstood. If the key to true self-confidence lies in your ability to embrace moments of misunderstanding rather than evade them. In a world obsessed with external validation and societal approval, many individuals fear being misunderstood, believing that it diminishes their value or relevance. This fear often compels them to conform to others' expectations, stifling their individuality and hindering their personal growth. In contrast, cultivating confidence in being misunderstood allows you to express your true self authentically, freeing you from the shackles of societal judgment. The psychological roots of this fear are often entrenched in early experiences, where validation from others shaped self-worth. Many people grow up internalizing the belief that their value is directly linked to how well they fit into social molds or adhere to group norms. This need for acceptance can create an intense fear of misunderstanding, as individuals equate disagreement or misinterpretation with failure. Research indicates that people who prioritize external approval may experience heightened anxiety and self-doubt, leading them to suppress their true selves in favor of conformity. Consider the case of Lisa, a talented artist whose work is often ahead of its time. Despite her passion and unique perspective, Lisa finds herself anxious whenever she submits her artwork for critique. She worries that her interpretations will be misunderstood or dismissed, leading her to temper her creativity to fit more traditional styles. This ongoing struggle generates feelings of inadequacy as she grapples with the notion that her work might not resonate with others as she intends. Lisa's experience illustrates how the fear of being misunderstood can significantly undermine one's confidence, locking them in a cycle of self-doubt and conformity. Similarly, the workplace can be rife with the fear of misunderstanding, especially for those who hold innovative or unconventional viewpoints. Take Mark, an engineer who consistently pushes for creative solutions. Despite his vast knowledge and experience, he often mitigates his ideas around more conservative colleagues, fearing rejection or disapproval. Over time, Mark's reluctance to share his authentic solutions stifles innovation within the team and results in frustration and dissatisfaction in his work life. Both Lisa and Mark's struggles underscore a common truth. The fear of being misunderstood often leads individuals to mute their voices, diminishing their contributions and hindering their potential. The emotional fallout of fearing misunderstanding can lead to chronic feelings of isolation and disconnection. When individuals compromise their authenticity to avoid conflict or criticism, they foster relationships built on superficiality rather than genuine connection. This lack of authenticity can exacerbate feelings of loneliness, as they feel unheard or unappreciated for who they truly are. Recognizing the importance of finding confidence in being misunderstood is a pivotal step in overcoming these challenges. The first effort involves reframing how you perceive moments of misunderstanding. Rather than viewing them as failures, reframe them as opportunities for dialogue and growth. This perspective encourages a sense of curiosity and invites deeper connections, as misunderstandings often prompt valuable conversations that foster clarity and mutual understanding. Engage in self-reflection when faced with misunderstanding. Ask yourself if you are willing to explain your perspective, even when the immediate reaction feels negative. Consider using these moments to articulate your thoughts and feelings clearly, reinforcing the idea that your viewpoint is valid, regardless of how others may perceive it. Psychological research shows that cultivating resilience in the face of misunderstanding bolsters self-esteem and leads to stronger, more authentic relationships. As you embark on this journey, remember that confidence in being misunderstood is intricately linked to self-acceptance. Embracing your individuality, flaws and all, allows you to contribute authentically and connect with those who appreciate you for who you are. In the next lesson, we will discuss the importance of living boldly without seeking validation, exploring how courageously expressing your truth can lead to personal fulfillment and deeper connections. As you reflect on your experiences with misunderstanding, consider sharing moments when you chose to be true to yourself despite the risks involved. Your insights can serve as inspiration for others navigating similar paths. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment on what resonates with you, as we continue this enlightening journey together. To develop confidence in being misunderstood, the first strategy is to cultivate self-awareness when faced with moments of potential misunderstanding. Begin by recognizing your immediate emotional responses in these situations. Do you feel defensive, anxious, or withdrawn when expressing your thoughts? Document these reactions in a journal, noting specific examples where you worried about being misunderstood. This reflective practice can help illuminate patterns in your behavior, enabling you to pinpoint triggers that lead to this response. By identifying these moments, you can prepare yourself better for future interactions, allowing you to respond with greater confidence and assertiveness. Next, it is essential to shift your mindset regarding misunderstanding itself. Move away from viewing misunderstanding as a personal failure or reflection of your worth. Instead, embrace the idea that misunderstanding is a natural part of communication. Encourage yourself to see it as an opportunity for growth and dialogue, rather than a setback. When you adopt this mindset, you can approach conversations with a sense of curiosity and openness. Research shows that individuals who understand communication as a two-way process are better equipped to navigate misunderstandings without feeling overwhelmed by pressure. This perspective shift can foster resilience and allow you to remain authentically engaged with others. Incorporating actionable exercises is crucial in reinforcing this confidence. Start by engaging in deliberate conversations where you express your opinions, even when they might differ from those around you. Focus on sharing your perspective clearly and confidently, allowing yourself to articulate your thoughts without much preemptive worry about how they will be received. After these conversations, take a moment to reflect on them. Did anything surprise you? Did you notice any patterns in how others responded? This practice of assertiveness not only builds your confidence, but also enables you to gauge the reactions and opinions of those around you, helping you navigate future interactions with greater ease. Consider the example of Sam, a university student who initially struggled with sharing his contrarian views in class discussions. He had a unique perspective on several topics, but often hesitated, fearing that he would be misunderstood or criticized. After recognizing this cycle, he committed to speaking at least once in every discussion, regardless of the potential for disagreement. The first few times were challenging, but each subsequent attempt bolstered his confidence. Sam found that while some classmates initially challenged his ideas, others began to engage with them thoughtfully. Over time, he developed a stronger voice, not only within his academic community, but also within himself, becoming comfortable with the notion that being misunderstood was part of the journey. A critical mindset shift involves recognizing that vulnerability is a strength. Embrace the idea that sharing your authentic self, even when others may not immediately understand you, contributes to deeper connections. Research has shown that vulnerability fosters trust and authenticity in relationships, ultimately leading to more meaningful interactions. When you accept that misunderstandings may occur, even in the best of conversations, you allow yourself to show up as your true self, inviting others to do the same. Lastly, practice self-compassion. Understand that you cannot control how others perceive you, nor can you rely on their approval to validate your worth. Be kind to yourself when you face misunderstandings or feel judged. Remind yourself that each experience is an opportunity for growth, and it is okay to be a work in progress. As you move forward in finding confidence in being misunderstood, remember that practicing these strategies will empower you to stand strong in your individuality. Each step away from conformity and toward authenticity reinforces your self-worth and resilience. In the next lesson, we will delve into the important theme of living boldly without seeking validation from others. We will explore how embracing your truth without the need for external approval can lead to profound personal fulfillment and empowerment. As you reflect on your journey with misunderstanding, consider sharing experiences where you've had to assert your viewpoint despite initial pushback. Your stories can inspire and uplift others on their paths. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, or comment on what resonates with you as we continue this exploration together. Lesson 12. Living boldly without seeking validation. What if the transformation you seek lies in the bold act of living for yourself, free from the constraints of others' opinions. Choosing to live without seeking validation is not merely an act of defiance. It is a profound commitment to honoring your authentic self and embracing your unique path. Many individuals find themselves entangled in the web of seeking approval from their peers, families, and society at large, which often leads to a life defined by external standards rather than personal fulfillment. This journey toward living boldly begins with unraveling the psychological and emotional entrapments that underpin the need for validation. At the core of validation-seeking behavior are deep-rooted psychological mechanisms that tie our self-worth to external feedback. From a young age, many of us learn that our value is contingent upon praise, whether from parents, teachers, or friends. This creates a dependency that frames our experiences and shapes our identities around what others think. When an individual continuously seeks approval, their sense of worth becomes fragile and easily swayed by external perceptions. Research in psychology underscores that this reliance on external validation not only increases anxiety and self-doubt, but can also lead to chronic dissatisfaction and emotional instability. Take the case of Alex, a young professional who constantly sought approval from his boss to feel valuable at work. Despite receiving praise for his contributions, Alex craved constant validation, feeling that any criticism would confirm his worst fears, that he was not competent in his role. This ongoing need for reassurance led to a cycle of over-preparation and anxiety, as Alex poured his energy into ensuring that every task met others' expectations. Each time he muted his own ideas to align with his boss's preferences, he drifted further from his true ambitions, ultimately stifling his creativity and leading to burnout. Similarly, we see this behavior manifest in social settings. For instance, Jamie often finds herself adapting her opinions or changing her interests to fit in with her friend group. This pattern of behavior, rooted in a fear of rejection, causes Jamie to lose sight of her true self. Over time, she becomes increasingly discontent, feeling that her friendships lack authenticity because they're built on a foundation of conformity rather than mutual understanding and acceptance. Jamie's experience shines a light on a painful truth. When we prioritize others' approval above our own desires, we create relationships and lives that feel unfulfilling and disconnected. The emotional consequences of living for others can be profound. When self-worth hinges on external validation, individuals are left vulnerable to disappointment and frustration, leading to a persistent sense of inadequacy. This detachment from one's authentic self fosters chronic dissatisfaction, as individuals feel compelled to suppress their true identities to avoid rejection or criticism. Recognizing these patterns is essential for embarking on the journey of living boldly without seeking validation. The first step involves cultivating self-awareness around when and why you seek approval. Reflect on your motivations in various situations. Are you striving for acceptance, or are you expressing your true self? Keeping a journal to document these thoughts can illuminate the deeper beliefs surrounding your reliance on external feedback. To further this journey, embrace a mindset shift that prioritizes self-acceptance. Reinforce the principle that your worth is intrinsic and not dictated by others' opinions. Affirmations can be an effective tool in this process. Regularly remind yourself that you are complete as you are, independent of external validation. This reframing lays the groundwork for a more resilient sense of self that remains unwavering amidst varying external reactions. In the next lesson, we will delve deeper into the practical steps you can take to embody this newfound freedom and live authentically. We will explore strategies for embracing self-expression while nurturing the confidence you have developed. As you reflect on your journey toward living boldly, consider sharing moments when you prioritized your authenticity over the approval of others. Your experiences can inspire others seeking their path toward self-discovery and empowerment. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment on what resonates with you as we continue this transformative journey together. To live boldly without seeking validation, the first step is to develop a heightened self-awareness regarding the moments when you feel compelled to seek approval from others. Begin by observing your emotional responses in different situations. When do you feel the urge to acquiesce or alter your thoughts to gain approval? Documenting these instances in a journal can help uncover triggers and highlight patterns in your behavior. By recognizing how often you seek external validation, you create a foundation for change, enabling you to confront moments when you might otherwise defer to others rather than trust yourself. Next, implement cognitive reframing techniques to challenge the underlying beliefs that fuel your need for approval. When negative thoughts emerge, such as, "I should do this to please them," or "What will they think if I express my opinion?" actively counter these thoughts with affirmations that prioritize your perspective. For example, reframe these thoughts as, "It's okay to express my true self, regardless of their opinions," or "My needs matter just as much as anyone else's." Research in psychology suggests that such cognitive reframing can significantly enhance self-esteem and empower individuals to prioritize their authentic selves over societal expectations. An essential strategy for fostering a life of authenticity involves practicing assertiveness in your interactions with others. Start small by expressing your preferences in situations where you might typically yield to external pressures. Rather than agreeing to a plan you don't want to participate in, practice saying, "I'd prefer to do something else," or "I'm not comfortable with that." Each time you assert your needs, you build confidence in your ability to live authentically. Psychological studies support that fostering assertiveness is linked to improved self-worth and can reduce feelings of anxiety associated with people-pleasing behaviors. Incorporating actionable exercises into your routine is critical for building the habit of expressing yourself without seeking validation. One effective exercise is to engage in a weekly authenticity challenge in which you commit to voicing your opinions in at least one setting, whether in a social gathering, workplace meeting, or even among family. This commitment helps reinforce the idea that your voice is valuable and deserves to be heard. Reflect afterward on how it felt to express your thoughts and compare your initial fears with the actual outcomes. This practice not only cultivates inner strength, but also makes asserting your true self feel increasingly natural over time. Consider the experience of Rachel, who had always struggled to voice her opinions during team meetings at work. After dedicating herself to the weekly authenticity challenge, she began to prepare her thoughts ahead of time and practiced speaking up steadily. The first few times she felt shaky and anxious. However, as she continued to leverage her practice, she found that not only did her colleagues begin to respect her input more, but she also experienced a sense of fulfillment and empowerment. Rachel's journey exemplifies the transformative power of embracing authenticity and the confidence that arises from choosing to live unencumbered by the need for approval. A crucial mindset shift involves viewing authenticity as a strength rather than a vulnerability. Understand that embracing your true self can inspire others to do the same. When you present yourself genuinely, you create an environment where honesty and openness thrive. Research indicates that individuals who live authentically are better able to forge deep connections and maintain fulfilling relationships, as they engage with others from a place of sincerity. Finally, practice self-compassion as you navigate the challenges of living boldly without seeking validation. Understand that change takes time, and there will be moments of uncertainty along the way. Reaffirm to yourself that it is entirely natural to feel apprehensive about expressing authentic thoughts and feelings. By treating yourself kindly during this journey, you empower yourself to grow and adapt, moving closer to a life defined by your values and truths, rather than by external expectations. Embracing this journey is not just liberating, but fosters a profound sense of empowerment that enables you to navigate life with integrity and confidence. As we conclude this journey through Mind Over Approval, Cultivate Resilience and Self-Belief, we have explored the profound impact that seeking external validation can have on our lives. From understanding the psychological roots of approval-seeking behaviors to embracing authenticity and building self-trust, each lesson has guided you toward a more empowered existence. By recognizing the patterns of people-pleasing, navigating the fear of judgment, and ultimately learning to live boldly without the need for validation, you are now equipped to foster resilience and cultivate a deeper sense of self-worth rooted in your true identity. Your journey towards self-acceptance and authenticity is a continuous one, and every step you take fortifies your emotional independence. Thank you for taking the time to engage with this content and embark on this transformative journey. Your commitment to personal growth is commendable. If you found value in this exploration, please take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights and guidance on your path to resilience and self-belief. Together, we can build a supportive community dedicated to authenticity and empowerment.